Okay, so what are your thoughts on CBDCs? I actually don't like them,
Uh,
so I just want to get like your thoughts on them, being that it seems like the U.S. is pushing.
totalitarian terror currencies.
Thank you so much. I'm not the only one thinking this. So yeah, everyone should be really scared that, the fact that the US plans to launch its own CBDC this summer. Like it's crazy how quickly the US government is moving on this, and they refuse to move quickly on anything else.
Well, they refuse to move quickly on anything that limits their power. Anything that increases their power, they do it very fast.
Exactly. Yeah, so like with you know, let's say if CBDCs come into play, do you think that'll take away from the potential of Bitcoin being a reserve currency in the future?
No, I think it will expedite the adoption of Bitcoin because once CBDCs are out there and they start getting adopted, which they will get adopted, that'll be easy for them to do.
Right.
Uh, I believe the government will immediately start abusing that power, and it will drive people out of the dollar. So, especially foreign currencies, like right now, if you're holding dollars in a foreign country, the government probably needs to convince the commercial bank that you are operating with to freeze your assets. And that's a very politically cumbersome process. So they don't do it very often. But if they have a centralized on and off switch at the Fed, they can do it instantaneously to anyone around the world. And then you have to ask yourself as a foreign citizen, why do I want to hold a currency that can be shut off based on a judicial system that I don't even live under?
Yeah, exactly. I think that is a huge thing. And I think, something that's interesting, and I know we're going on a tangent right now, but something that's interesting is seeing what's happening around the world, right? Like, France, London, we're seeing the people protest against like control of their currency, control of their income. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that, as the CBDCs become something that the government's forced down our throats, like people are gonna realize like, I actually don't want this, and then they might turn to Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you mentioned the French protest specifically because that is really what it's about, in my opinion. That's about the legitimacy of an institution where there's like everyone thinks the French are protesting about whether they can raise the retirement age. They're not protesting about that. They're protesting about the way that they raise the retirement age. And I think that goes back to currency and everything because if we've been just siphoning power to single actors in where it used to reside with much more reputable institutions like Congress or like Parliament in Europe. So I think that the legitimacy of the institutions is in crisis, and that's why we're seeing this shift to crypto in general.
Right.
Do you feel like there will be certain cohorts of people that will, really identify with that kind of narrative of not wanting so much control over their everyday currencies and, making the switch to more decentralized alternatives. And then like other cohorts of people that may take a bit, longer to adopt because at least the regime that majority of us, are in already is one that is heavily reliant on the system. And, because of those same factors, it's like access to different things can also be cut out. So what kind of like I don't know, people or sectors and categories of professionals do you see making that jump, to really have convenience to still maintain convenience in their lives?
So, are you talking about making the jump to crypto or making the jump to CBDCs?
The jump to well, the resistance to CBDC. So once CBDCs are launched, like the alternative measures that are there in place.
I'm not sure if you
I
can resist it.
Yeah, I think it'll kind of be forced on you.
You don't have an option, sadly.
But foreign central banks can resist it. Like I think the primary driver of Bitcoin adoption over the next 20, 30 years is not retail like it's been. It's at the central bank level.
Right. And I think also like looking back at India and Nigeria over the past like 3 years, so they recently had a currency switch, so from black money to like their new currency. Nigeria actually has multiple currencies going on right now at the same time, but I think those countries would be good examples if you want to kind of predict what will happen in the US as we switch from our physical dollar to the CBDC system.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And
Yeah,
especially
that's
how the Nigerians are forcing the currency on people.
Exactly, the e-naira